Welcome back. Today marks 25 years since the historic adoption of the South African Constitution, which was approved by the Constitutional Court on the 4th of December 1996, taking effect the following year on the 4th of February 1997. Joining me now to reflect on this milestone is former Public Protector Thuli Madonsela. Professor Madonsela, thank you so much for joining us. A very good morning to you. It's a constitution that has been hailed as the world's greatest, as it really speaks to the history and the future of South Africa and the vision that has been embodied within it. What makes it so special when it comes to some of the elements and the laws that it drafts out?
Thank you. A happy Constitution Day to everyone in South Africa and friends of South Africa, and happy International Human Rights Day. The Constitution of South Africa is celebrated because it covers all bases. It gives a clear vision of the society we are intending to build, which has 4 goals: democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. It's very clear about what are the entitlements of every human being, and those are in Chapter 2 in the Bill of Rights. And they include basic rights such as the right to dignity, the right to equality, and the right to access to food, water, social security, and health. It even covers the right to education. It's very clear about what kind of government do we need, and it's a government that is based on ethics, which shows that it's wrong when people say, as long as you've not been convicted in a criminal court, we can govern, because that's unconstitutional. The Constitution wants you to be ethical, not just to be not a criminal. It then also provides for a polycentric accountability system that includes courts, parliament, the people and the media, plus Chapter 9 institutions.
Now, Professor, the objectives of the Constitution have really been eloquently presented, almost like a song or a powerful affirmation in its preamble, and really just reflecting and perhaps an expression on the fundamental values and purposes. In exploring some of the mechanisms put in place, how can the performance of the Constitution then be assessed when it comes to people's day-to-day lives?
Well, the effectiveness of the Constitution, you are correct, can only be reflected in how the average person, the average Gogodlamini, experiences the fruits of the Constitution in everyday justice. That would be basic things such as access to water, access to health services, freedom from violence, including gender-based violence, equality in all aspects of life, not just in the workplace, equality in ownership of land, equality in ownership of businesses, and equality in ownership of companies and intellectual property. As we stand, the inequalities we have in our society mirror the inequalities of apartheid, because the power that people had under the law to be treated as superior has become the social and economic power they have to be superior to those who were undermined during apartheid. But you said something remarkable about the preamble. And at the University of Stellenbosch, supported by the Tuma Foundation, we believe you can't get where you're supposed to go if you don't have a vision. And the average person doesn't know the preamble. The average person, even people who work for government, do not know what are the constitutional imperatives. What are the constitutional values in Section 1? We even got a government document that said local government has no responsibility to advance equality. And that was shocking. But it says to us we need to embark on constitutional literacy.
What's your take on some of the criticism that has been leveled against the Constitution? Some saying that perhaps it's a dream deferred and that it doesn't reflect the citizens' lives and that the Constitution has really not delivered?
I would say the criticism directed at our Constitution is wrong. I often compare that to the fact that I own an iPhone, but I use it as a Motorola. So the fact that my iPhone does not yield the same results as somebody such as Stone would do with his iPhone does not mean there's something wrong with my iPhone. It means I, as the navigator, am lacking. But having said that, it does say, one of my students said, okay, that means then the iPhone needs to be a little bit more specific in terms of how it directs those who were born before technology. And maybe he was right, which means in retrospect, I do think our Constitution should have been drafted in the same way as the Kenyan Constitution, because there would be no disagreement about, is equality a duty? Do government departments and government entities only have a responsibility not to discriminate, or do they have a responsibility to proactively advance equality? The Kenyan Constitution is very clear on that. In our case, the case law is very clear on that. So with our Constitution, you've got to read it together with decisions of the Constitutional Court. And that's what we do when we embark on constitutional literacy.
Very well. We're going to have to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for your time. Former Public Protector Professor Thuli Madonsela speaking about the importance of marking 25 years of the Constitution being drafted.